हरि गुण गाय हसिया वृंदावने हसिया वृंदावने नाचे गौरवे झूले झूले गोराचा हरि गुण गाय झूले झूले गोराचा हरि गुण गाय वृंदावने तरुलता प्रेम कोई हरी कथा वृंदावने तरुलता प्रेम कोई हरी कथा निकुंजेरा पाखी गुले हरे नाम सुनाय निकुंजेरा पाखी गुले हरे नाम सुनाय झूले झूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय झूले झूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय गौरा बोले हरी हरी सारे बोले हरी हरी गौरा बोले हरी हरी सारे बोले हरी हरी मुखे मुखे सुख सारे हरे नमो गाय मुखे मुखे सुखे सारे हरे नमो गाय धूले धूले गोराचा हरि गुण गाय धूले धूले गोराचा हरि गुण गाय हरि नामे मथा होए हरि नासिचे देल हरि नामे मथा होए हरि नासिचे देल मयूरे मयूर प्रेमी नाचिया खेले मयूर मयूर प्रेमी नाचिया खेले धूले धूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय धूले धूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय प्राणे हरि धने हरि हरि बोलो बदन बोरी प्राणे हरि धने हरि हरि बोलो बदन बोरी हरे नमो गये गये रस गेले जय हरे नमो गये गये रस गेले जय धूले धूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय धूले धूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय आसिया जमुनार कूले नाचे हरि हरि बोले आसिया जमुनार कूले नाचे हरि हरि बोले जमुने उठोले से चरना धोए नब जमुना उठोले से चरना धोया दूले 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 गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय दूले दूले गोरा चांद हरि गुण गाय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जया प्रभु पद प्रभु पद शील प्रभु पद जय गुरुदेवा 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 निताय गौरव हरि बोल Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Nitai Gaurav Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं स हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने वरदिशे नमः नमो ब्रह्मण्याय देवाय गोब्राह्मणहिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातं हम वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनधारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधव श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यस्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षसावाक्यव्यन्त्रं शुचि श्री विष्णु Hare Krishna. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. So in the Canto 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam alone, just by hearing, by oral reception of this message from Sri Krishna, from Bhagavatam, one can easily develop the supreme love towards the supreme personality of God. Even more higher than hearing is allowing others to speak, and encouraging others to hear it. It is next level. In more higher than the encouraging others is allowing others to speak. I thank you for everyone for giving me this opportunity to speak something about Srimad Bhagavatam, although I am not qualified anything. If I made a mistake, please forgive me. If there is anything which is beneficial to you from this, it is all due to the Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining today's session once again. So, just a brief recap of what we have gone so far. So, we have seen the progeny of Daksha Prajapati. So, we have seen all the daughters of the Daksha Prajapati, of which Sati is the most beloved the daughter of Daksha. So Daksha gives all the daughters to the different respective rishis and also and Sati was given to Lord Shiva. And then we see how there was a dispute between Lord Shiva and Lord Daksha, Daksha Prajapati, because Daksha considered Shiva as an ordinary person. He did not consider Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He did not see that Shiva is the foremost Vaishnava. So, and we see that lots of curses are being exchanged between Bhrigu Muni and Nandishwara. Later we have seen that this dispute was continued for so many ages, and one day Daksha was performing different Vajpayee Yajna and all the yajnas, and all the people, all the demigods, the sisters of the Sati, are going to Daksha's place in a beautiful airplanes. And Sati feels that she also wanted to go to her father's house. Just like it was mentioned, it is due to the general weakness of a woman who wants to go to the parents' house. If there is any auspicious activity happening, generally there is invitation is not required from the friends, relatives, or parents to attend the functions. But here Shiva says that there is a dispute between Daksha, your father Daksha, and myself. And if you go there, oh Sati, you will be terribly insulted. You will be terribly insulted and you cannot sustain it because of your relationship with me. But because of the bodily weakness, Sati says so many things, just like Arjuna was giving answers, questioning to Krishna in the first canto, first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So she says so many arguments, and she finally decides to leave the place and go to Daksha's house. But when she arrived at the Daksha's place, she was not treated properly. Nobody greeted her, welcomed her, except for few sisters and her mother. Her father did not talk to her, and she feels so much insult there. Out of that insult happened to a Vaishnava, and especially her husband, she could not tolerate. He says, because of this this body is given to by you, I am being called as Dakshayani. By hearing the word Dakshayani, I am related to you, and by you are offending to my husband and a Vaishnava, I cannot tolerate it. So I'm going to give up this body right now. And she gave up. She gave up her body, and the body burned into ashes. And what happened next is what we see in this 5th chapter of the 4th canto. So, frustration of this sacrifice of Daksha. So, what happened to this Daksha Yajna? Hare Krishna, any devotee can quickly read the translation and purpose. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Namrit Prabhu Dandavat.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maitreya said, when Lord Shiva heard from Narada that Sati, his wife, was now dead because of Prajapati Daksha's insult to her, and that his soldiers had been driven away by the Ribhu demigods, he became greatly angry. Purport: Lord Shiva understood that Sati, being the youngest daughter of Daksha, could present the case of Lord Shiva's purity of purpose and would thus be able to mitigate the misunderstanding between Daksha and himself. But such a compromise was not attained, and Sati was deliberately insulted by her father by not being received properly. When she visited his house without being invited, Sati herself could have killed her father, Daksha, because she is a personified material energy and has immense power to kill and create within this material universe. In the Brahma Samhita, her strength is described. She is capable of creating and dissolving many universes. But although she is so powerful, she acts under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as his shadow. it would not have been difficult for Sati to punish her father. But she thought that since she was his daughter, it was not proper for her to kill him. Thus, she decided to give up her own body, which she had obtained from his, and Daksha did not even check her. When Sati passed away, giving up her body, the news was conveyed by Narada to Lord Shiva. Narada always carries the news of such events because he knows their import. When Lord Shiva heard that his chaste wife Sati was dead, he naturally became exceedingly angry. He also understood that Bhrigumuni had created the Rubdeva demigods by uttering the mantras of the Yajurveda, and that these demigods had driven away all of his soldiers who were present in the arena of sacrifice. Therefore, he wanted to reply to this insult, and thus he decided to kill Daksha because he was the cause of the death of Sati. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So this chapter has only 26 slokas, which is very small, and out of which this text is very much important. This is generally we see in Bhagavad Gita and whatever Acharyas mentioned. Generally, in any chapter, the first 1 to 3 text defines the entire scenario of the what is the chapter is all about. And this text one plays a major important role in this chapter. So we can see why Shiva did not stop Sati. It's because he also considered that when Sati goes to the father's place, she can play a role of mediation. She also plays because she is a pet daughter of Daksha. There is a possibility of enmity between Daksha and Shiva coming down. But that didn't happen. Daksha was so envious and jealous and angry on Shiva that he did not even stop Sati committing from committing suicide. It's not suicide actually, from sacrificing her body. He did not even stop. Such is the hard-hearted. Such is the nature of the envy. When envy enters, the heart becomes so hard-hearted. We don't even consider who is. We consider what are the relations. So that's what we have seen in the first portion. And not only that, we also know that what is the role of Narada. So Narada transfers this message of Sati sacrificing her body to Lord Shiva. He is a messenger. So he knows what he is doing to accelerate the process. And in one of the most important aspects here we have to consider is Shiva becoming anger. Shiva is in anger. So how did Shiva born? He is born out of anger because of the Brahma's anger. So naturally, he has an anger potency. Just like when we see when during the pralaya, when the cosmic manifestation is coming to an end, Shiva does the Tandava dance and destroys the entire material world. So anger plays a very important role for Shiva. But he became anger by the loss of her beloved wife Sati Devi. This Srimad Bhagavatam is full of all rasas. We all know it. So there are 9 rasas, 9 rasas, 5 of which are primary: Santa, Dasya, Sakya, Madhurya, all those things. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is accumulation of all the 9 rasas. It's called Krishna is also called Rasaraj. So Krishna and Srimad Bhagavatam are not different. So all the Rasaraj is of Srimad Bhagavatam, of which one of the rasa is Krodha. Also, we have to understand that many people will say that God is impersonal. There is no form for God. But here we can see so many rasas being exchanged, especially the Krodha. It is only because of the consciousness of a person. If it is not a person, there cannot be any rasa. So we see that air, wind, etc. We don't have any rasas exchange with that wind and everything. Only we can exchange these rasas between a person to person. So here clearly the impersonal aspect of Supreme Personality of Godhead is condemned. So God is having a personality. That is what we have to understand. But generally, devotee is becoming anger we will come to that point. Why Shiva is anger? What is Shiva's anger all about? What is anger? We all tend to become angry, isn't it? So when does we get angry? Just see for an example, when you are going for an urgent meeting to office and you are stuck in a traffic and there is a big queue and red light is not coming, green light is not coming, then what happens? We'll get angry. Why this traffic police is not giving green? I'm late for a meeting. If somebody hurts you, insults you by bad words or some words which you are not fit, then you will naturally get anger. There are so many ways, so many situations we have seen in our own life where we get anger. But what is the cause of that anger really? What is the root cause? So we have seen the symptom of getting anger, and if you give medicine to the root cause, then only our actual symptoms get cured. So what is the root cause of anger? Srimad Bhagavad Gita 3.37 says, Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava. So what is the cause of Krodha? It is Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna. It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of the contact with the material nature or the modes of passion. Later, it is transformed into wrath, which is nothing but extreme anger, and which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. The two common aspects of two common reasons of anger is our lust and anger. Sorry, Rajoguna. So generally in this material world, we are all bound by Rajoguna. Sometimes we go into the Tamoguna. So Rajoguna plays more and more role. And when it comes in the lust, when it comes with our desires, which is materialistic desires, then it becomes anger. So when we have a desire, it is fulfilled, we want more and more. I want more money. I want more beauty. I want more fame. But there is a greed developed. But sometimes our desires will not be fulfilled. Whatever we desire, we have so many desires, but it doesn't get fulfilled, then we tend to get anger because of the Rajoguna. So the immediate reason of the anger, this is not a root cause. It's an immediate cause of the anger. Then what is the root cause? So there is an immediate cause and there is a root cause. What the root cause is again explained in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 2.62. Yayato Vishyan Humsha Sangas Tejupadayate Sangat Sangayate Kamat Krodha Abhijayate. So Dhyayato Vishayan Humsha. Dhyayata is contemplation. Contemplation on the Vishaya. So contemplating the object of senses, a person develops attachment for that. So when we think constantly about particular object, sense object, then we develop as an attachment for them. And from that attachment, lust develops. So which is the root, which is the cause for this lust with Rajoguna is the result of, is the cause for anger. And from lust, anger arises. So what is this Vishaya? What is this object of senses? In Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it said, Srila Prabhupada explains the purport. Vishaya means materialistic desires, materialistic objects. So when we are contemplating on these materialistic objects, it is called Vishaya, Gyato Vishayan. So what is this materialistic objects or Vishayan objects? Prabhupada says there are only four things. What are those? Ahara, Nidra, Aya, and Maithanam. We have all heard it in SSR sessions. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithanam, Saman, Etat, Pashubir, Naranam. Dharmena Hina, Adako Vishesho, Dharmohi, Adiko Vishesho, Dharmena Hina, Pasuhi Samana. So, Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithanam are common to animals and human beings. So, these four things are only the objects of senses. So, anything which we take in this material world, our contemplation, our whole effort is going into this four. It is fitting to these four buckets. If we are contemplating how to prosper in these four aspects, then naturally lust develops. So there is no difference. There is only one difference between the love and lust. Lust is perverted reflection of love towards the materialistic objects, and love is direction towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees. So generally, we are all busy in these four activities. How can I increase in my food? How can I increase my quality of sleeping? We open your televisions. We have seen so many advertisements, like so many mattresses coming, 4 feet, 5 feet cushions, different types of cushions, for memory cushions. So we are doing entire research. How can we better sleep? Srimad Bhagavatam says it is only one hand and ground is sufficient for our sleep. That is a basic necessity. But we have increased our quality, sophistication. And many people say, why are we working? We are working only to earn food. So we are always contemplating only on these four material vishayas. Then naturally attachments towards such things generally come up. So with that attachment, lust arises. So in our day-to-day life, we see how attached we are. How can I identify my attachments? Just sit in a secluded place and start chanting. Your mind brings so many things. And that is the major areas where our attachment lies. We can eliminate that one, but chanting gets improved. So this is one of the technique we can understand where our attachment lies. So the attachments leads to lust, and with lust, with Rajoguna, develops the anger. So then what we have to do? So they regulate them in order to advance in spiritual life. We are all trying to go in, we have to go forward in the spiritual life. So we have to regulate. Srila Prabhupada says, regulate these four activities, recreation, food, all those things. So in the preliminary stage, one has to control the senses. How can we control the senses in the preliminary stage? By following the four regulatory principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit affairs. And not only that, for beginners like us, deity worship is the best way to control our senses. You can see the form of Lord Hari and meditate upon the form. Then naturally our lust converts into love. If we cannot control our senses, then go tell it to Supreme Personality of Godhead. The people in the Upper Sampradaya, they say, you have to control your desires, you control your senses, make the senses zero. Starve your senses. It doesn't happen. We cannot control our desires. There is something keeping on coming and coming. The mind always thinks, feels, and wills. The soul is always Satchitananda, it's always active. It cannot make the desires zero. But any bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya, especially our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Srila Prabhupada, has given a very good methodology. We can divert our senses towards Krishna, like the example of Ambarish Maharaj. He used each and every senses, engaged in every senses in the service of Krishna. So what he used to see the Murti of Krishna. He used to talk about Krishna. He used to smell about the fragrance of the Krishna. So in every case, we can dovetail our senses towards Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana Bhaktir Uchyate. So whatever we are doing, we have to convert into Krishna. We have to add Krishna into that. We have to please Krishna with that. So in essence, the thinking process. So in earlier days, in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, by act of thinking also created karma. But fortunately, in Kali Yuga, Krishna has given a discount that if you think, just by mere thinking, you will not get karma. But what happens because of the thinking? Our attachment is increasing, our lust is increasing. When it is not fulfilled, anger is getting increased because of our materialistic desires. So, what is happening because of this anger? What is the problem in getting anger? So, Bhagavad Gita 2.63 says, from anger, what happens? The result of anger is explained in 2.63. From anger, delusion arises. We cannot understand what is happening. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory, our complete memory, our entire intelligence is lost. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. Intelligence is very much required for discrimination between good and bad, right and wrong, temporary and permanent. Isn't it? There is a discrimination between these two. And that intelligence is lost, we tend to become, we tend to see we tend to go into the bad areas. We don't go to the permanent results. We are all seeking for permanent happiness, which is completely diluted by our intelligence, by the anger. Then what happens? When our intelligence becomes weak, we cannot understand what is mentioned in the Shastras. We cannot take it. And naturally, we fall from the spiritual world to the material world again. So, this anger is pulling us down. That is one of the anchor. Lust, anger, and greed are three gateways to hell. It is said, the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. These are the three gates to hell. So when we are trying to progress in the spiritual path, these anchors should be removed. These materialistic angers should be removed. Ultimately, what happens? This anger results in killing. We see so many in news. We see daily. We see so many people are killing innocent people. So one man is killing an innocent lady because she did not accept his proposal. He said he wanted to marry her, but she said, I don't love you. And next day, he's trying to kill. Father is killing the children in the name of honor killing because they married out of the caste. So, what is the extreme effect is people are killing themselves. Father is killing the children, children are killing the parents, and whatnot is happening. This is because of the anger. So, in this complete anger, we forget who we are. One devotee was mentioning. So, when we are angry, so our ears get reddened, our body gets hot. So, at that time, when we chant, suppose in an angry mood, we are chanting, what happens? Our beats also become angry, sorry, heated. You can feel that. So, there was once an incident that probably has happened in Mumbai, where husband and wife were quarreling each other. There is a bitter quarrel. And after that quarrel, the mother has given breast milk to the infant child. In few minutes, infant child got expired. They ran to the hospital, and then when doctor diagnosis, they said this child has died because of the food poisoning. And what did you give it before this? He said only my milk. And he asked, did you have a quarrel between these two? Any time? Yes. Just before giving milk, they had a quarrel. That is the reason why that food poisoning has happened. Because of the anger, our entire body gets filled with poison. It's poison. Even if you spit, the spit, if you touch the spit, it is full of negative vibrations. That is the effect of Tivra Krodha. So this is the result what is happening. Today in the material world we see hypocrisy and quarrel. So the final solution is given in 2.64 of Bhagavad Gita. One who controls his senses by practicing regulated principles of freedom can obtain complete mercy of the Lord and become free from the attachment and aversion. So, We have to control our senses. Vacho vegam, varsa, krodha vegam. We have seen that all in Bhakti Shastri, that an extra instruction first verse. So we have to control the senses, especially the tongue. Because the tongue is the biggest disaster, biggest disaster in this world. That creates nice environment or it destroys the environment. So how do we control our mouth, our tongue? So tongue has only two qualities: either it speaks or it tastes. So instead of speaking all the nonsense, instead of tasting all the nonsense, we can speak about Krishna. We can chant his holy names, or and we can eat his prasada. By way of that, when we can control our tongue, we can control all the different senses. So one who strives for this by our own strength, we cannot do all those things. Yes, we can do some, we can say no to some extent. By seeing our sincerity in saying no to certain aspects, Krishna will get pleased. It's only because of the Krishna's mercy one can become free from attachment. By our strength, we cannot free from it. So we all have to strive for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. Some see there Paritoshna. Whatever we are doing is only for the happiness of Krishna, but nothing else, nothing more. So that is what, and further steps were given in 2.65 to 2.68 of how to control the sense. But we say Lord is also getting angry, Krishna is also getting angry. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.7 says, when Lord appears in this material world, sometimes people think him to be ordinary person because he may appear externally like another created being. Avajananti Mamuda Manishi Tanastikam. Krishna says, the people, Mudas, think that I am in the form of a human being. But generally we think that Krishna is in the form of human being. We forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we impose our character on the Krishna's character. And we think that when Lord is angry, he is also angry like us. There was once a famous show in America. Everybody loves Raymond. It's one beautiful show that had happened. In that, few children were demonstrating some presentation, were giving some presentation in the form of plays. In that, the children has given a play called The Angry Family, in which they depict that how the family is angry towards each and every one. Seeing this play, the family members, the grandparents, parents, all those people, their family members who were assembled there, immediately got up. So what has happened? Why these children are playing like that? So they introspected and found out that they have the problem. This is the play depicted by children of the same family. So elders of the family are angry and children are watching and they did a play. Immediately they corrected themselves. So we think in a normal circles, in our devotional circles, Krishna is our father. So Krishna is our father. We are all doing certain actions. This entire world is a stage, and we are all these children doing certain actions. We are also getting angry. So when we think that we are angry, certainly our parents must be angry. So ultimately it's a result of how the parents are behaving, how the parenting is happening at home. So naturally, when children are angry, it means that parent is angry, and naturally the Krishna must be angry. That's why many people will say, and we are all God fearing, we are not God loving. We fear God. If we do not do this, God must be angry, and he will punish us severely in the form of karma, all those things. So better do it in this way. Out of fear of God getting angry, we do certain activities. Is God an angry God? So, just like here, Prabhupada gives an analogy of fire. So, fire, when we touch by our hands, it gets burned. our hands get burned. Similar, but a fire has a good property. You use it for cooking, lighting, etc. But improper use of fire has resulted in my hand burning. But if I use it in a regulated way, it can give me my nice prasadam, can prepare my nice prasadam. Similarly, this material world is a fire. Samsara dava naladiyeda log. So this material world is a fire. If we enjoy it, if for our own senses, because of our own lust, what happens? It creates karma. When that karma, we all know this good karma and bad karma. So we rotate in this material world. So what is the best use of this material world? Independence. Naturally, in this material world is giving us independence. Because of that independence, we are misusing it for my own enjoyment. I should be enjoyed. That is called lust, and it creates karma. But how can I use independence in a proper way? By serving Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotee. If I use my independence in this service, it is called bhakti. Sarva dharman parijajya mamekam sharanam. What does that mean? Means giving up our independence in the service of Krishna. It's not becoming dull. It's not saying that you are not independent. Yes, we are all independent, but under the umbrella of service to the Lord Hari. That independence we can do it. That is called. So it's a matter of choice. How should I use my independence? Whether it is for my pleasure or it's Krishna's pleasure. So Lord's anger is also a mercy, is a form of mercy. The first chapter we can see in one of the verses, so when Ashwadama kills the 5 Pandava sons, then Arjuna gets anger. So anger of Arjuna is described as a red copper balls. His eyes are red copper balls. But in the next sloka, it is mentioned that Krishna is also angry, but his eyes are lotus feet, lotus eyes. So there is a difference between the anger. So anger of the Lord is also the mercy. Anger is not a necessary fault. Anger need not be a fault. For the Lord, anger is bhushanam, is also an ornament. So whatever Krishna possesses, Lord possesses, it's an ornament. It's a bhushanam. It's a mercy to the people. So here, a famous story, we all know how Brigumani goes test all the 3 personalities, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Who is the supreme of this thing? So Brahma, Brigu tests. So in each and every way, he tests Brahma, then Brahma gets angry because of Brahma. When Brahma thinks that, oh, this Brigu is my son, I should not get angry. And he gets Shiva also gets angry. He takes his trident and starts trying to kill Brigu. But Parvati comes to the rescue and says, because he is your brother, you should not kill him. And Shiva calms down. But when the same Brigu puts his feet on the chest of the Vishnu, what did Vishnu do? He apologized. Oh, Brigu, I'm sorry. I did not give attention to you. He gives a seat and massages his feet. So here you can see that how Vishnu is reacting. He is not reacting immediately. So Krishna Vishnu is very tolerant. So that is the nature of the Vishnu. But when situation arises, Lord gets angry. So what are the example? One example is of Durvasa Muni, who criticizes Ambarish Maharaj, and Vishnu sends Sudarshan Chakra to kill Durvasa. We all know the pastime. Vishnu was anger on Durvasa. And one of the major pastimes which we know where Krishna has become angry, it's Narsimhadev. So Krishna has come in a fiery look of Narsimhadev. We see in Mayapur how the Narsimha statue is just like before, it is bouncing. It's very thunderous, very fearful. All the demigods were afraid to go near the Narasimhadev. Even after killing Hiranyakashipu, he was not coming into the cool mood. So all the demigods wanted to pacify him, but they were very afraid to go before him. Then they sent Prahlad Maharaj to pacify him. When Prahlad came and Narasimhadev put his hand and we got the Narasimharati, Tava Kara Kamala Vare. So he said, this hand is very soft like a lotus. But for Hiranyakashipu, it is fearful. So Lord gets angry on the non-devotees and he is more happy for his devotees. So Lord, when he becomes angry, it is also a mercy because Hiranyakashipu was also delivered. Hiranyaksha was also delivered. All demons were also delivered. What about Putana? She was given a role of a mother in the Vaikuntha Loka. So Lord's anger is also a mercy for us. So his punishment is also a mercy. His benefits also is a mercy for all of us. So for non-devotees, he become anger. For devotees, he is a mercy. But how anger of the Lord towards devotee is a mercy? Here we can see the example of Brahma Vimohan Leela. When Lord became angry on Brahma, on Govardhan Leela, Lord became angry on Indra. Finally, it is a mercy shown to this devatas. So the question comes here, arises here. Yes, materialistic by people getting angry, there is a repercussions. There are results. It goes to killing. Can, as a devotee, we can become angry? Here, Shiva is becoming angry. Vaishnavana Yathashambho. He is a supreme most devotee. So devotee becoming an angry, is it good? Yes. Yes, being a devotee can become, one can become an anger. Yes. So God to be angry against those who are against the God and his devotees. So when there are people who are claiming that I am God and they are blaspheming the other devotees, yes, we can become angry. So becoming a devotee doesn't make us important. Doesn't make sense that you should not become angry. We can use anger in the service of Lord. Just like example of Hanuman. Hanuman destroyed entire Lanka only for the service of Vishnu. Only to unite Lakshmi and Narayan. So Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. We all know Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Why did he spoke? To invoke anger in Arjuna. Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. When he saw that all are his gurus, elders, and fellow people, he did not want to fight. Instead, he wanted to beg. And Krishna says, it is not befitting you. As a Kshatriya, your duty is to protect the Dharma and fight. Without anger, there cannot be fight. Without being angry, we cannot be fighting. So, the entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna to invoke anger, but that anger is being used in the service of Krishna. So, we should not be, generally, it is not advisable for us to become angry, but when the God and his devotees are being blasphemed, yes, we can become angry. So, that is what is being explained here. So, Shiva becoming angry is because Sati is his devotee. So he is a devotee of Krishna. He's a devotee of Krishna. He's a devotee of Shiva. So his devotee is being destroyed here. The entire arena is becoming against the Krishna consciousness. That's why Shiva became angry. So in the next chapters, you can see Shiva explains he became angry because of the karuna on the Daksha. He wanted to show his mercy on the Daksha. He wanted to teach Daksha a lesson. His idea was not to punish Daksha. So when we get angry, we say, this person is angry, this person has insulted me, I should destroy him. But Shiva's anger is not like that. He wanted to teach. Just like our parents, when we commit a mistake, they scold us. Our teachers scold us. Our guru scolds us so that we can get corrected. Otherwise, we can get spoiled. So Shiva wanted to correct as a, because we have seen Shiva is a universal spiritual master. He is a spiritual master of every Charachara. So as a spiritual master, he wanted to correct the disciple and he became angry. So out of this anger, what has happened? Thus Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground. Out of his anger, he was dancing like a madman, and he created a Virabhadra, a fearful black demon as high as the sky and as bright as the three suns combined was thereby created. His teeth was very fearful and hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms equipped with various weapons, and he was garlanded with heads. You can see the skulls. The Kali, we all see the skulls being worn. When that gigantic demon asked her with folded hand, "What shall I do?" My Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanatha, directly ordered, "Because you are born from a mod body, you are the chief of my associates. This Virabhadra is the chief of all the Bhutas. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice." So here we can see the competition between Brahmachedas and Shiva Tejas. The Shiva's energy and Brahma's energy. The Brahma's energies are Vibhu Devatas, which Bhrigu Muni has created in order to throw away that all the Rakshasas which they came along with Sati Devi. Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, the black person was personified anger of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was prepared to execute the orders of the Shiva. Thus, considering himself capable of coping with any power offered against him, he circumambulated Lord Shiva. So he circumambulated Shiva and went to Daksha again. Many other soldiers of Lord Shiva followed the fierce personality in a tumultuous roar. He created a great trident. He created a great trident, fearful enough to kill even death. And on his legs, he wore bangles which seemed to roar. The tinkling of ankle bells were also like a roaring sound, thunderous sound. At that time, all the persons assembled in the sacrificial arena, the priest, chief of the sacrificial performance, brahmanas and their wives, wonder where the darkness was coming. So this gigantic person is coming. Now from where this darkness is coming, they all wondered. Later they understood that it was a dust storm. He was coming with such an intensity that dust storm was coming. So one of the pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam where these dust storms were explained is when Yashoda Mai, when Krishna goes to the cowherd in the morning, Yashoda is always conscious about Krishna. When will my Krishna come? So seeing that a far distance, how he could recognize Krishna is coming? How? By the dust coming out from the footprints of the house. By that, she understands that Krishna is coming. But here, this entire dust storm is entirely different. It is becoming darker. There is no enjoyment in that. They could sense something is wrong. Conjecturing on the origin of this storm, they said, there is no wind blowing, no cows are passing, nor is it possible that this dust storm could be raised by plunderers. There cannot be any plunder because there is still the strong king Parhi. Parhi was nothing but Prachina Parhisat. We have seen. King Parhi was a pious king. In his rule, there are no thieves or plunderers. When there are no such plunderers, there is no possibility of dust storms. Who would punish them? Where is this dust storm coming from? Is it the distillation of the planet now to occur? So it is like the planet getting destroyed. Prasuti, the wife of Daksha, along with other women assembled, became very anxious and said, "This danger has been created by Daksha because of the death of Sati, who, even though completely innocent, quit her body as." So Daksha's wife, Prasuti, could understand what is the reason. It is because of the Daksha's behavior towards Devi. This is all is happening. Shiva is angry. At the time of dissolution, Lord Shiva's hair is scattered, and he pierces the rulers of the different directions with his trident. He laughs and dances proudly, scattering their hands like legs, as thunder scatters the clouds all over the world. So, this is a symptom when Shiva destroys the entire material world, when the dissolution of the material world is going to happen. The same situation is being observed here. So, because of that, they are thinking that Shiva is performing illusion, is trying to kill all the kings. The gigantic black man bared his fearful teeth. By the movements of his brows, he scattered the luminaries all over the sky, and he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Daksha, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the latest exhibition of anger. When Lord Brahma could not be saved further. While all people talked among themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omens from all sides, from the earth and from the sky. So he could see all the bad omens which is prevailing there. My dear Vidura, all the followers of Lord Shiva surrounded the arena of the sacrifice. They were a short stature and well equipped with various kinds of weapons. Their bodies appeared to be like those of sharks, blackish and yellowish. They ran all around the sacrificial arena and thus began to create disturbance. Some of the soldiers pulled down the pillars which were supporting the pandal of the sacrifice. Some of them entered the female quarters. Some began to destroy the sacrificial arena, and some entered the kitchen and residential quarters. They broke all the pots made of for use in the sacrifice, and some of them began to extinguish the sacrificial fire. Some tore down the boundary line, the sacrificial arena, and some passed urine on the arena. Some blocked the way of the fleeing sages. Some threatened the women assembled there. Some arrested demigods who were fleeing the pandal. So this anger is being used in the service of Krishna. So once there was a pastime of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada once was performing a stage program, was giving a lecture where all the Westerners, Matajis and Prabhujis were there, and some people who were assembled, some Indians who were assembled near the stage, were misbehaving with the Matajis. So they were they were pulling the saris, they are passing some comments. So they're trying to destroy the pandal area. That causing all the problem nuisance. Srila Prabhupada took his kartal and he was doing like this and trying to shoo away all the Christians. Srila Prabhupada is becoming angry to protect the devotees. So similarly, all this, anything can be used in the service of Krishna. Lust, anger, greed, everything can be used except for the pride. Only pride cannot be used. So Shiva has ordered all these people to destroy the pandals, sacrificial arena, even though the sacrifice was for the Vishnu. Bhoktaram Yagatapasam. So all the Brahmanas know about this. But since the devotee was not treated properly, that sacrifice will not be handed to Vishnu. Even Vishnu will not accept that. So to stop that sacrifice, all this destruction is happening. Maniman, one of the followers of Lord Shiva, arrested Brihumuni, and Veerabhadra, the black demon, arrested Prajapati Daksha, another follower who was named Sandesha, arrested Pusha. Nandishwar arrested demigod Bala. There was a continuous shower of stones, and all the priests and other members assembled at the sacrifice were put into the immense misery. For fear of their lives, they dispersed in different directions. Virabhadra tore off the mustache of Bhrigu, who was offering the sacrificial oblations with his hands in the fire. Virabhadra immediately caught Bhaga, who had been moving his eyebrows during Brigu's cursing of the Lord Shiva, and out of great anger, thrust him to the ground and forcibly put out his eyes. He plucked the eyes. So you can see those who supported Bhrigu and Daksha were being all here. Just as Baladeva knocked out the teeth of Dantavakra, the king of Kalinga, during the gambling match at the marriage ceremony of Aniruddha, Virabhadra knocked out the teeth of both Daksha, who had shown them while seeing Lord Shiva, and Pusha, who by smiling sympathetically had also shown the teeth. Then Virabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. The skin was so tight that even with the sharp weapons, when he was cutting, head is not getting separated. Now we can see the curse of Nandishwara is coming into play. So, in order to get the god face of the Daksha, the present face should get destroyed. He tried to cut the head of the Daksha with hints as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut the surface of the skins of Daksha's head. Thus, Virabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. Then Virabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial. We can see the sacrificial knife which is being used. He took that one and just like an animal is sliced, that head of the Daksha is beheaded. Upon seeing the action of the Virabhadra, the party of the Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts, and demons that had come made to the tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in the charges of the sacrificial cried out in the grief of the death of Daksha. Virabhadra then took the head off with a great anger, threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it in the oblation. He has given as an offering to the sacrificial fire the head of the Daksha. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements of the sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode Kailash. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose. So the fourth chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Frustration of Daksha. So thus, Daksha Yajna was completely destroyed. And we can see in the next chapter what happens with the Daksha and how Vishnu pleases Shiva and gives benedictions to Daksha. We all see in the next two chapters. So the essence here all about here is the getting angry. So angry, we get anger when we contemplate upon the materialistic objects which are nothing but ahara, nidra, bhaya, maitunam. So when I contemplate only on those four aspects, the lust attachment develops, lust develops. Out of this lust, with Rajoguna, one gets into Krodha. So what we have to do? So we have to control our senses. We have to come to in the mode of goodness. Even if the mode of goodness is also in this material world, we have to be in the Super Sattva Guna. So we have to become Krishna consciousness. So we have to practice this Hare Krishna Mahamantra daily chanting. We have to regularly associate with the devotees, read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and we can understand how we can use our anger, greed, etc. in the service of Krishna. Samsiddhir Haritoshna. So when we engage our anger in the service of Krishna, that becomes beneficial. Otherwise, we can develop karma and be bound by in this material world. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punas Avartana Arjuna. So either we go to the Brahma Loka, to the Patal Loka, we are in this material world, suffering from birth, death, death, and disease. So one should be very regulated in the controlling the senses. That's why our acharyas has given in fact, 5 regulative principles. 4 we already know: no eating, no intoxication, no illicit affairs, no gambling, and 5th one is standing of the holy names. This is what we have to do. Hare Krishna. I open this forum for your realizations, suggestions, any doubts. Please
Hare
give
Krishna
me
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prasad Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
You have explained very well on anger. Anger also can be very sattvic. Okay, if you are using it in a right way, on right place, on the right people,
Yes.
it can be even sattvic. So God has given anger means like it has a benefit. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu. You have
So
given a wonderful explanation today on anger.
everything comes from Krishna. The naturally anger also comes from Krishna, but you have to use it everything for Krishna.
Okay. But one question, Prabhu.
Yes.
So anger came from Krishna, but like some of the anarthas which we have, okay, is like in this material world is like a it is been heard multiple times. It is a reverse of what was there in spiritual world. So can we say the lust is something like that? Lust is not there in spiritual world. Lust Krishna do not have it, but like what he has is love with all the jivas. So that is reversed. Okay, in the material world.
Even
Yes.
even in spiritual world, lust is there, but lust is that lust is called love. It is also lust. We can see the gopis, his interaction with the gopis, with the married woman. It appears to be lusty. So when the Lord shows these lusty things or anger, it is transcendental. So that lust is a transcendental lust, which is called the love. It's not
Okay.
that lust is not there, it is called love.
Okay.
Like,
Okay, understood.
anything Krishna demonstrates, it is transcendental.
Okay, okay. But if we have that kind of lust towards Krishna, that even in material world we call it as a love.
Yes, lust towards Krishna and his devotees. That is love.
That is love. Okay, understood. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, it's very wonderful explanation, especially on anger today, Prabhu. Because
Thank you so
Shiva
much.
has got anger. Okay, it is very valid. Because general also, like many questions will come these days. How come your God get even anger? Okay, so a God should control the anger. Okay, we have seen in Kerala story the similar kind of questions, but this
Yes.
kind of question also can shoot on us. Okay, saying that like, how come your God, you people calling as a God, is getting anger? Yeah. Yeah.
All this all this was asked in the Kerala story, but they did not give answers there. Srimad
Okay.
Bhagavatam is the answers. When we know all these things, we will be safe.
Yes, bro. Thank you, bro.
Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. Although I am suffering, I'm not suffering to control my anger. I am also showing my materialistic anger. Because of this chapter, I may try to implement even in my life so that my anger can be best used. Thank you so much, bro. Hare
We can
Krishna.
have anger on myself if I'm not chanting or if I'm not chanting properly. That can happen, bro.
Yes, sometimes when it results in a good thing, if your chanting is increasing, it is good.
Okay.
But instead of that, if you constantly blame ourselves, sometimes we tend to become negative. We go back. Anyway, I'm not going to stand. Let me stop it. We have to be very careful in demonstrating. It should be under the guidance of spiritual teenagers.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you, Santosh Aditya Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
very much.
Ram Hare. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Satya Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there are a lot of people who are worshippers of Veerabhadra. I mean, if you go to south side, a lot of people actually worship Veerabhadra. And we all know that Veerabhadra is a very, very ferocious, angry form. So I don't know why, so such a worship came when he's in the angry form. Like instead of worshipping Lord Shiva in a meditation form or a linga rupa, they worship this Veerabhadra form with all the swords and everything.
Mm.
whether it is mentioned in the scriptures or not, that the Virabhadra form also can be worshipable.
As the scriptures it mentions this mentioned in Tamoguna scriptures. People scriptures dealing with Tamoguna. We can see in the Bhagavad Gita, I think where the three modes of material nature are defined or faith is defined. The faith in the Tamoguna people worship is ghostly forms. The Kali, Virabhadra, all this. So people who are in Tamoguna worship this, and it is accepted even in other Shiva Purana, some other Puranas are there, it mentions about Virabhadra. But as a devotee, we need not.
Yeah, but the only, I mean, the other part is in the form of worship, they do the animal sacrifice, like they kill so many goats, and if you go to those villages and they worship, and then okay, it's a sacrifice. The goat and all the animals, they give sacrifice.
That is also happening.
Hmm.
So even one devotee was saying he came into Krishna consciousness. One young devotee, maybe around 25, he came into Krishna consciousness, but their parents were not Krishna conscious. But they
Hmm.
have a habit of worshipping someone like this, a Virabhadra or something, and there is a tradition to kill animal. And he said,
Hmm.
he is suffering. What should I do? There's a tradition he has to kill. But he said,
Hmm.
after so many explanations he given to his parents, why not to kill? Yes, the parent agreed, and they did not compel him. So, as Krishna conscious person, we need not do. People are
Yes,
there.
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. I mean, maybe it is understood that they will take another few births to understand. They should raise to the level of sattvic nature.
Yes, they will come to the second one place.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, I think I think you had a question.
But if you even devote Veerabhadra Swami also, see at starting of his life, maybe he was so anger and he did his purpose. Okay, then after that, I think he has done some kind of sattvic and all that, right, Prabhu? Okay, he was there with Shiva, yeah, in my understanding.
But these are all ghastly forms.
What is that, Prabhu? Caste?
These are ghastly forms.
Okay.
That is people who are in Tamoguna, they worship.
Okay. Okay.
Hare Krishna, I think so.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very
Manoj,
nice.
Manoj.
Yeah, very nice lecture, Prabhuji. And you nicely spoke about anger. How it is to be managed or controlled. Uh, Actually, one of the examples you have given, we heard earlier about Hanumanji's anger, how it has been utilized. Yeah, but today it was a nice example how it was dealt, right, from Bhagavatam also, different way. Probably I was little here and there, was not focused today. So can you just in one or two ways, can you tell me how practical, how can we control the anger? Taking these references, can you?
Basically, what anything for fundamentally is association. For anything, for whether we want to control everything, what any association only gets controlled. So one should have a strong association and strong sadhana, and aware of the scriptures. Before getting angry, one should understand that whether I am trying to correct the other person or not. One should be very clear whether we are trying to show our power to them or are we trying to correct them. Provided they are in your control. If you have a correcting capacity, if you are not having correcting capacity, if they are not under our control, it is not advisable to show anger. It's better to inform to the counselor or somebody else who is in charge of them. If they are under our control, we can show that anger, provided we are doing a strong sign. We have to be in a Suddha Sattva mode. And we are all doing that. So try to be as much as Krishna conscious as possible. That is the only way.
Yeah,
Prabhuji,
you have told within the devotees might be because you have taken the word counselor and all.
Hmm.
How would be for the outside world, Prabhuji, if it's somebody is a non-devotee?
Even in the outside world, the same thing applies. Sometimes we get anger on our boss. We cannot show that anger. That is not advisable. We can show some anger to our subordinates, provided they are not doing the work properly. Only to make them work properly. Don't show that I am a boss over here. You are reporting to me. You have to do this. There are so many bosses like that. That is not advisable. So for anything, the same rule applies, whether we are authority or not. If we are in an authoritative position, for the benefit of the subordinate and other people, can show anger. So these things, basically, our sadhana is much more important. Our so daily, early in the morning, if you can chant all the 16 rounds in proper consciousness, Prabhu, the consciousness gets propagated in our day-to-day lives. That's possible. So generally, then devotees do chanting in the late nights, late evenings. Maybe I do not. Some have a problem, official problems, but it is better to do the chanting early in the morning. All the Mangalarati, all those things. We do it early in the morning. The consciousness will be much more better.
Okay. So I'll take one example, Prabhuji. If I'm not a if I'm not a boss, or so if not I'm a manager of somebody, I do not have any authority. Then I do not have anything to express anger on them. That is what you're trying to say. If I'm
For a good cause also, you can do anger, like Arjuna showed. When there is a wrong happening in your organization or somewhere, better don't be silent. We can show that anger if it is possible. It's for a good cause.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very good.
Very
Thank you
nice.
so much.
Very nice.
Prabhuji, you also
Yeah.
mentioned that deity worship is one of the best way to control the anger, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
control the senses to control the senses.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it will about control of senses. Yeah.
So we can smell, taste, see all the things. Prabhupada in this Mangalarati morning program, he has given all the package, the power packed program, Prabhu. So if you do all these things, majority of the whatever is being said is being followed. That's why morning programs are very much.
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, always. I mean, when you get angry, Prabhuji, one thing is, are we trying to impose our opinions, like something you don't like, and you get angry? Is it because you're trying to impose, like my way is the correct way, your way is the wrong way?
Yes.
If I think if we can get above that level, like okay, maybe it's not that my way is correct way. Uh, Maybe you want to explain a little bit about that, like when you get
Yes,
angry.
see, my way is my things. Because I believe I am in the center. It is everywhere I am in the center. It is called lust. So that becomes a negative thing. Even sometimes in our devotional circles, we try to impose our bhakti on the others as well. Then that also creates a problem. We show anger. Why are you not following this? To our
Yeah,
relatives, everything. Even
correct.
that also is envy. Sorry, is lust. We have to motivate other persons. Sometimes when they commit serious offenses, we can become angry. But when it is trying to impose our opinions, it is I in the center. When I am in the center, it's love. When Krishna is the center, it's called love.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavata. Sir, all said and done, controlling anger is really very, very difficult.
Yes.
See, in the office, no, though we know that the boss is wrong, we can't get angry on him. But the same thing we show it in our house. That's a normal condition.
Yes.
What I think is, when we really want to control our anger, every day in the night, we have to think of what all things we have done. Sometimes we have done right thing, then getting angry on children or getting angry wife, husband, like that. Where we were wrong. That if we think like that, from the next day we can control to that extent. Though we cannot correct boss, because correcting boss is very difficult, because it affects our job, it affects our promotion, and every time we can't go on changing the job or something like that.
Yes.
So materially, in material thing, it is sometimes we have to forego so many things like that, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. No,
But
right.
But always when we think of Krishna, when we have a photo in our office, we will have Krishna's photo. As soon as we get anger, we should see that. Then I think our conscience will take, no, don't get angry. This is not correct.
Yes.
Like that, we can correct ourselves.
It's with what is important in our life, whether correcting boss or my Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, our Krishna consciousness only, because boss we cannot correct. No.
Boss anyway, some situations we cannot control.
Only thing is, we can slowly tell him, if we can, if he's a CEO or something like that, we cannot go to him, we cannot say anything. At least our immediate boss, we can say, it happened like this, it should have happened like this, it could have happened, something in this one.
Sometimes we apologize after getting angry also is also good way.
That's very good. That's very good. When we apologize, the other person will have more mercy on us or something like that. He will not get angry. Oh, he has apologized with me. Because even with the children, we do like that. But in children also, small children, we can say something and they'll forget as soon. When they are adult, no, you can't get angry on them, because they may be, they will change their attitude itself.
Yes.
They will be angry on us, which is very difficult to withstand.
Yes.
So I think the patience, always some patience and some thinking daily, why what we have done wrong or something like that.
Yes.
It helps us a lot. It helps us.
Yes. Great. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Satya Prabhu.
Prabhuji, just I don't know whether it is mentioned here. See here, when Sati left her body, is there a mention that okay, then she became like a spiritual body and she has to go? Where is the destination of the? She's Durga, right? She's Durga.
After that, next few I think next chapters we hear she transfers her soul into the Parvati.
Okay.
Daughter of Himavati.
Okay, she will take birth again there.
She will take birth again as Parvati.
Okay. No, I mean, is there a mention like that she will?
I think in the next two chapters also this is continuing. The Daksha Yajna is continuing till 7th chapter. Yes, I think I don't remember, but it is there. It will be mentioned. That is there.
So does it mean that like both Shiva and Parvati, Shiva and Sati both have material bodies here?
See, they don't have a material body; it's a spiritual body. But to the world, it is being shown as a material.
Okay.
Because she says, I am being identified with you as Dakshayani. So, material and spiritual are in the consciousness. So, whenever people are calling Sati as Dakshayani, there is a relation between Daksha and Sati on a bodily platform, because Daksha is on a bodily level.
Yeah.
So that is being shown as a bodily, materialistic body. So it's our own consciousness. Shiva's body and all these devout bodies are not ordinary material bodies. These are spiritual bodies. That's why our spiritual masters, when they leave the body, we preserve that body. These are
But
spiritual.
here, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Here
Hare
I would
Krishna.
like to add one point, Prabhu. Even I
Sure.
used to think that they are not material like us. Okay.
Yes.
But this particular thing is mentioned in Bhagavatam. But if you see it, Satya Prabhu, okay, Rudra, okay, we can call it as a Rudra. Rudra born from Brahma. Okay, Brahma is material. Okay, in the same way, Rudra is there here in this world. Okay, for his duty. So Sati is also his wife. Something like that. I thought of myself, Prabhu, to understand this. Yeah.
It's a how we look at the conception. It's in a material concept of life or spiritual concept. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Any other would like to add or a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Can I, 2 words, I will express my realization. It's not
For sure.
it's just a brief realization. Say, everybody knows that anger is always bad. And in a material world, anger leads to sometimes small, but sometimes very big and devastating effects, like killing people or causing war between countries. Everything happens because of anger. And everybody knows this anger is bad, and still they have anger. And how we can control the anger, or how can we use it in a right perspective or a good cause, that we can know only by reading Bhagavatam, like scriptures, and more association, more and more listening to such, because reading a Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita is not that easy. Understanding yourself, reading yourself is not that easy. And this can be understood better, and it can be utilized in place in actual life if you listen to somebody who is talking, and who is talking by listening in parampara only, not by his own way of realization. So anything that comes in parampara and being translated or transmitted to the next generation will be useful. So my realization is, listening to such topics more and more will be useful for everybody. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes. Listening from the right source, from authority is must. Shravanam Kirtanam. Start with Shravanam. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So if there are no questions, we can stop the session here.
Hare Krishna, Santosh Aditya Prabhuji. Thank you for
Hare
giving
Krishna,
this
Siva.
wonderful class. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Dhanyavad Pranam for giving me this opportunity. Shall we end, Prabhu?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva cha
Patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo
Vaishnavebhyo
namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.